Okay, so now we've seen the game and how you interact. It's a completely different experience and it's a different narrative, and we're kind of trying to immerse the player into that. And but what's actually like first we saw the animation, then the game. But and this thing is first you kind of get lost in the wilderness and everything happens here. Then the game starts, and you play as Doris, not really knowing what's happening, doing what you need to do that makes sense to you as a player, as well as it does to Doris, because you're kind of the same player. So you can just walk around and make the Gargants destroy big stones in the jungle and chase out different people. And then we see the animation short from a different perspective, where we see David as good and Doris is kind of bad, just sending Gargants after you, destroying things and everything. But Doris doesn't really know what she's doing. But you as a player, you did the same thing. You made the Gargants do kind of the same things. And that's why we kind of put the stories a little together, and then we kind of want to take them apart again, move them along. We only made that small slice. And then they can kind of meet each other again later, and we can kind of expand on this timeline. So what we made is a story world that is not just something, it's not just a story, it's not just a game. It's a place where a lot of different things can happen. And we have shown a game, a pitch for a game, and an animation film, or a very small slice of one. And during this whole process, we've been doing this since January, and the production time has only been half of it. So we have had a lot of brainstorming, a lot of different things, and we had a lot of different ideas for different games, different animation, TV series, comics, all sort of things that can take place in this world. And it doesn't need to necessarily be David and Doris. It can be more. But another thing that we also worked on doing this is that first of all, and actually half of the times in January has been till here, that is establishing the whole universe and story world, because we need to agree. We need to create the good thing that can expand. So we share. It's both game people and animation film and film people working on the universe and characters. And then when we enter production, we share the same assets. It's the same assets that we're using in the game and in the animation. It's the same 3D assets, same music direction, art direction, everything. On top of that, a lot of routines, things that we are doing, like we have a pipeline, we put our things here, people you use them like that, you develop like that, and we do that. And now we have two small products, slices of them, but let's see the products. Then we can kind of tie it together, having the same development process, and then we have a joint result, and we can kind of cross promote the things and go further on. So if we take this as more than a student product, then the next step here would be to make this small pitch into a pilot for example, an animation movie or for a TV series, as well as the game should of course be expanded into a bigger game, explores more of the fruits. But we also been sharing all the assets, and we have all those assets. Every time we meet a new character in the game or in the animation thing, we create that world, we create that place. So we have all those assets. If we can use them to, for example, create a webcomic or something else, we can kind of expand with a new media, because the world can kind of expand in both directions. We have the whole backstory, and we can kind of continue further. And we have shared assets. So on a long-term thing, this story world is created, not unlike Star Wars, but pretty far from. Star Wars has been going for quite a few years. So we're not really that close. But we're kind of in that, at least trying to create something that can kind of continue. So it's not just one movie or one game. It's something we can take new characters. It doesn't need to be David and Doris or the big monster Maggie. We can create new characters. We could, for example, work on a multiplayer game where you explore the weird Gargants and play as one of them walking around in their weird community without rules. Or we can create something completely different taking place in the same world. And I think that's the presentation. God! No, thanks to like everybody. Not everybody's here today. A lot of people went actually home to their respective countries. It's like a European thing, so we have a lot of people from different places, and the rest of them are outside drinking beer.